going. So welcome, Zach, or Zach. Is it Zachary or Zach?
Zachary.
Zachary, Zach, and welcome to this special episode of the AlphaMind podcast on YouTube. And we're delighted to have you. And maybe you could tell our audience all about you.
Yeah, so I'm 12. I invest in stocks. I've had I started investing around like 4 months ago. You see all the adverts on YouTube and stuff, so I decided to give it a go, and it's gone pretty well at the moment.
Okay, brilliant. And of course, you had a surprise last week.
Yeah, I had a few massive shout outs. I gained a load of Twitter followers and YouTube subs.
And where did that come from?
And that came from like a few accounts, mainly the main account who shouted me out was Pomp. And
Yeah,
I had a few other ones with like a few 100,000 shout me out as well.
right. So how many followers on Twitter were you at before that?
I think so. Before that, I was at 20, and now I'm at 21,500.
Wow, that's just in a few days.
Yeah, and on YouTube I had 140 subs. Now I've got like 3,500.
Wow, that's amazing. That's
Yeah,
brilliant.
it's
Was that
pretty cool.
was that completely out of the blue? Was that like a shock to you?
Yeah, it all happened while I was asleep.
I know. I saw the thing. I'd already woken up, so by then, but I gave it a small retweet. So, and you've jumped over my number of followers in one day.
Yeah.
So tell us about yourself. Tell us about your interest in investing.
Yeah, so before investing, I used to read some articles and stuff. They all kind of had little bits about investing in it and stuff.
Yeah.
When you're on YouTube and I was watching YouTube videos, you get a lot of adverts for brokers and stuff. And I used to do a bit of writing before.
What sparked your interest in stocks and shares and investments?
No, it's just, there was like when sometimes people run like companies run massive advertising campaigns. There's always like invest as little as £1 only. We're trading 2 on 2. So I thought I would give it a go. So initially I put in £40, put in more money after that, and now my portfolio is worth around like £860. It's up about,
Wow.
yeah. So this has been going pretty good. I think I've got total gains of just over 60% in 4 months.
Gosh, you must be one of the best performers this year in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, and was your father or your parents involved in investing?
No, so they weren't involved in it. I've got my dad into it like a month ago.
Right,
Yeah, he wanted to get into it, so I got him into it. But before that, none of my parents had anything to do with the stock market.
right. So clearly you are on your way to being a future market wizard.
Yeah, hopefully.
Brilliant. What's your advice for our audience, people listening out there?
No, it's like I think it's like just hold strong. If you struggle with watching like day-to-day movements, if when your stock's going down you panic sell the stuff, just leave it for like a year. Delete your account and then look at it in a year. And as long as you do your research on companies and you think they're good companies.
Where did you learn that advice from? Because you sound like someone who's so much more mature.
No, it's like what is that? I don't know. It's like I learned the hard way before. I used to initially invest in the UK stock market, but
Right,
it never really moved and it didn't have the action I was looking for. And then
right,
the stocks weren't massive gains, so I only invest in the US stock market at the moment. And I mainly invest in like hyper growth companies.
right. Okay, all right, brilliant. So Mark has joined us. Can we hear you, Mark? You're on.
Hello from the land of temperamental internet. Hey Zach, how you doing? How's
I'm
South
good.
by
What about
Station
you?
going?
Yeah, I'm good. Stock market's doing well.
Excellent. I'm glad you're tuned in to these things. Anyway, sorry, back to you, Steve. Good to see you.
Yeah,
Yes,
no. I was just telling Zach that I was asking him what got him interested in it. He's returned. I think he's up over 60% this year in the last 4
4
months.
months.
Fantastic, isn't it, really? Yeah, I mean, crumbs, that's better than most professionals out there.
Yeah.
It's better.
Good.
It's better than I've done.
Good for you. Can I ask a question, Stevie? Can I just go straight in and ask something? I'm just intrigued. I mean, obviously, when I was your age, I don't even think global markets got onto my mindset, and to probably, I might have bumped into an economics lesson at school at 17 and sort of pick up the idea of it. But how do you treat this? Do you treat this as a hobby? Do you treat this as a game? Do you treat this as like just a extension of your education?
I treat it as like a kind of a game of risk. You know, you play your cards right. You know, invest in companies you believe in, and hopefully you make money out of it. I wouldn't see it as a game, but I would definitely see it as a hobby.
So it's a combination of both.
Yeah, combination
in a way,
of both.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the first ever thing you did?
I think the first ever thing I did in terms of investing was I initially put, I think it's like £40 into it, just to see how it went, and it went all right. I made like 4%, but then I switched over to the US stock market, started making money, so I carried on putting more and more money in, and that's how I got to where I am today.
Well done. It's interesting, isn't it? I always look at the US philosophy much more entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
It tends to bounce back quicker economically than many
Yeah,
other
the UK
nations, I
stock
think, because of
market.
that spirit.
Yeah, I mean, I got the UK stock market at a long time ago. It's mainly because it just wasn't much movement. I mean, you see the US stock market rebounding, prices are going back up, and then the UK stock market's just sitting there, just sliding down even more, having its occasional little peak, but nowhere near where it was before coronavirus. So I started investing in like US companies, and it's gone well for me ever since.
We spoke about you on our podcast the other night. We had Chris Camillo, who's our podcast guest next week, and we mentioned you to him, and I think he's also been in contact with you.
I think so.
He has a podcast, a TV show called Dumb Money TV.
Yeah, we have been in contact.
And he was very impressed. He's one of the, he's also a market wizard featured in the new book.
Yeah.
And he's a phenomenal investor. And he just thought it's great. He wants to, I know he's got a passion to introduce investment to a much younger audience.
Yeah.
And to teach people earlier, like Mark said, he learned it at 17. I learned nothing about it at school whatsoever. And I don't know a lot now, if I'm honest. but you know, it's great. I think it's great for young people to get involved in it. Why not? You know,
give it a go.
Yeah,
what have you got to lose at the end of the day?
Well, you've got that, first of all. That's a great attitude to have. But secondly, you understand young people. I mean, the world has become a young people's place. You know, they understand the changing technology. You know, for us older guys, we don't get technology, but young people just seem to, it seems to, you know, it's intuitive to them.
Yeah, we love technology.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed you've got a passion for electric vehicle makers and Bitcoin. Is that correct?
Yeah, I especially for EV makers. I mean, that's primarily what I invest in. I'm like, the reason I mainly invest in EV, it's such a hyper growth sector in general. And you know, if you're a dividend investor, for example, you look at like 12% returns every year compared to being an investor in EV. And if you can ride up the hype in one sense, and I've had a stock like I would say around a month now. I've had over 182% on it. So I think that's really the beauty of EV.
Okay, so I mean that's a great summary, and the irony is not lost on me that you can't drive an electronic vehicle for at least another 5.
Yeah, it's like 2 years ago, everyone hated EV. You know, the whole market was against it. The analysts were against it. You know, they called Elon Musk crazy. They said all these EV startups were dead. They were set to fail. And now when you look at they are now, I think the market's really began to see the potential of EV.
Yeah, and I guess there's a long way to go.
Yeah, there is a long way to go, but then hopefully that's the beauty of getting all those returns.
I think what you're doing though is you're paying attention with sort of what we call sort of meta curiosity. You know, you're just looking at these things as what's my return going to be in this and that and whatever, and then you can look even deeper into those particular product areas like EV, of course, and then you've got the battery side as a question. You've also got, well, whether is EV, has it been a bit of a bluff? Is it really going to be the future? Or are we going to start looking at hydrogen and things like that? So I think if you've got that mindset that's just looking at the world from a return point of view, I think you get to analyze things a lot deeper than normal, a lot more broader than normal.
Yeah,
and to
at
acquire
the end of
those
the day,
skills. Sorry,
at the end of the day, when we're like all invest, we're all looking to make money at the end of the day. Some people don't invest in certain companies for, for whatever reason. It's like a personal choice. They all, at the end, they were all looking to make money, and I think EV is just such an easy way to make money at the moment.
Yeah. No, but it's good to have that education super early in life, because of course there is also the longer term thing about pensions and things like that. And if you've got this mindset about building growth into long-term pension plans, then you're going to be way ahead of an awful lot of people, because the long-term value and accumulation of money.
Yeah.
If you understand that early, which clearly you have, then that gives you a significant base as you walk into whatever career path you take.
Yeah, I want to be a hedge fund manager.
Well, there you go.
Well, I'm sure we can have a few hedge fund managers watching or in touch with us, maybe asking you to come along.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully.
So do you have any people your age who you know also doing this?
Yeah, it's like a surprising amount of people I've met online.
Yeah.
So I set up my YouTube channel. There's a few kids who do investing.
Right.
So it's really interesting. It's like I say, when you're a kid, a lot of beginners actually start investing. Who are young, they mainly start originally doing dividend investing.
Yeah.
And then they think that's too boring after 2 weeks. That's really what I did. I found it so boring after 2 weeks, getting my 34p dividend. I didn't do any more dividend investing, and it's gone really well for me ever since then.
No, that's brilliant. I think that's great.
I think it's important though that you've started off with almost like a complex product. The equity world, the dividend world, and all that. The performance and earnings. There's a lot to look out for in that world. It's not a straight binary up and down market like perhaps some elements of the things that people trade are. And I think that, again, that adds to this usefulness of the base that you're creating. It's quite intricate. And if you can get your mind around the whole concept of, price earning ratios and dividends and whatnot, then, crumbs, you'll be able to take on almost anything going forward. But if you're picking these things up at 12, what on earth are you going to be thinking when you get to 20 and when you're hopefully in that hedge fund? Because I can almost guarantee that a lot of people coming out of uni will perhaps not even be close to where you are now. There's always this assumption that people go to uni, get a degree in economics, and boom, they're market ready. Not the case. They're not normally aware of anything much more than the background economics. And of course, if you try to apply that to the market, most people tend to fail, and fail badly, because they're not in touch with the feeling of the market. So you're building almost like an extra sense within your bandwidth of what you're doing, to just be a lot closer to what we call the market than anyone of your age group, and anyone probably within 5 years upwards of your age group either.
Yeah.
Or more, actually.
I mean, at the moment, I'll just say this example is like, let's say, people like Warren Buffett, they made a lot of money in the past, in like the past 30 years. I think at the moment, as some newer hedge fund managers, I think are better positioned to take advantage. Because I mean, Warren Buffett, he mainly invests in food companies and stuff. So that's going to give him limited returns in the first place. But then he always talks about, when you look at how Warren Buffett made his money, he would take bets of like 43% of his portfolio, all in one stock. At one time, in his career path, he used to buy companies, rip them apart, sell all the assets originally, and make a load of money. So I think when you look at people like Warren Buffett, I think it's kind of important to remember how they made all their money. So, he made a lot of it through all these different ways, and he got into dividend investing really early after that. I think that's kind of a way.
Do you know what I'm impressed with listening to you? It's quite how much you know. It's incredible. I mean, you must be like a sponge, just absorbing everything.
Yeah.
When did you start? When did you first get involved in this interest and passion?
Yeah, right. It was like around, I'd say, 4 months ago when I started investing in the stock market.
Wow, you've learned all this in 4 months.
Yeah.
And do you have any heroes?
Um, I'd say Elon Musk.
Right, okay.
But just as John Plus, I think he's such an innovative guy. He's always looking forward to the future.
Yeah,
I would say I reckon Chamath Palihapitiya. I
right.
quite like how he's been. I do disagree with some of the stuff he does, but then he's so innovative. He's in like SPACs and stuff before they became popular. And I would say, yeah, those are like the two who I really look up to in stock market investing. And Bill
Right.
Ackman.
Yes, yes, he's done some incredible things. And they're all very creative individuals.
Yeah, all get their fair share of criticism, but they all think of new ways to make money.
They,
Elon Musk thinks of ways to innovate Tesla, SpaceX, and Chamath invests in loads of other SPACs which people have never heard of. He looks forward to the future. And then Bill Ackman, he takes these massive shorts, these massive bets, they pay off and they sometimes don't, like his Herbalife short he obviously lost a load of money on. But then you look at some of his other shorts he's made a load of money on. He made something like the best ever short in history. He made something like $1 billion within something in the period of 2 days.
yes, a bit like you, Mark. You've had a few like that, haven't you?
What, $1 billion within 2 days?
Yes.
I've had some things that would scare the living daylights out of you on the upside and the down.
So you've got this newfound passion in investing. I can't believe how much you seem to know already within this short space of time. So what are you going to do with this? You want to be a hedge fund manager in the future, but where do you go forward with this? You've got the channel as well, the YouTube
Yeah, so
channel, and
obviously like grow my YouTube channel and stuff. But in terms of investing, by the time I'm 18, I'd probably want to have like 300% returns. So I look at the companies I have now, look what they're going to be in the future, what I hope them to be in the future, and you look at revenue projections, and hopefully it should be worth my portfolio should be worth like hopefully 5 grand.
wow, that's something, and that's just really just starting.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was sorry, go on.
No, no, it's all right.
And that board behind you, your blackboard behind you, is that where you make your market investing notes, or is that a
No, it's
poster?
like no, that was just some wallpaper. My mum got that one time
Ah,
without my permission.
oh,
It wasn't
okay.
initially my favourite wallpaper, but yeah, I like it. It's
It
alright.
makes him look clever, Steve.
Yeah.
It does. It does. It looks
Mum's
like you've
looking
been.
after him.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
So
So
I've got a question for you, Zach. Sorry, Steve. I mean, if I was one of your buddies, yeah, that didn't have a clue about this stuff, and you were going to tell me, your buddy, listen, I want you to, pay attention to this world that I'm operating in, where, there's money to be made. Where would you tell me to start? What would you tell me to be looking at? What platform should I be looking at? Things like that.
So obviously here in the UK, we don't have Robinhood or anything. But if you're using like small amounts of money, use like trading 2 on 2, something which has zero commission. Maybe the financial exchange rates aren't the best. When you're not trading with a lot of money, that's not too bad. But I'd say mainly look into stuff like EV and SPACs and stuff because they're quite easy. They're fairly easy to trade. I mean, the other day I don't know if you ever heard of the EV maker Arrival. There's a rumor that they were going to go public through via SPAC. So on that day I bought the stock when it was at like $10.90. I was really lucky. It was the day after that they officially announced it, so I doubled my position then. And now today it's been about 5 days since they announced it, and I've got 43% on it.
Fantastic. So you say it's called VR SPAT?
Yeah, it's like SPACs, special purpose acquisition companies. It's easier for companies to go public, less fees involved in it. So I think that's the kind of thing which definitely made me most of my money.
There you go. Stephen knows more than us already.
He does, yes. Yeah, I'm so impressed. And so we're looking into the future, but right now, how can other people your age sort of get involved in this?
Yes, it's like just give it a go, and if you're into something, let's say you always go shopping for clothes, or whatever. If you have the you see something like Primark and you look at Primark shares, Associated British Foods are down a lot this year, and I was in Bristol recently on holiday. The Primark queue, there's about 200 people just lining up around everywhere, and it is crazy. They just kept growing and growing. So if you think maybe something like Primark is going to be more popular as more millennials. So eventually, like in 30 years, when you look at, millennials are now the old people, and like 50 years, millennials are old people, and then it's like then and if they're there, if you think they're going to be shopping at Primark, then eventually everyone's going to be shopping at Primark. All the age groups, as all the age groups get more technology advanced and all that. If you think that's something you can lock up for your retirement, by I don't know, even just 10 shares, that could be worth whatever you think it could be worth in the future.
There you go. There you go, Mark. We know what to do.
Fantastic. I think great advice. Dip in, manage your risks. Don't try to, you're not going to make $1 billion overnight to start with, but understand the value of money and how much you're willing to lose as well, because of course there's no guarantee that what goes up doesn't come down. And of course what you said today isn't investment advice of any kind. It's just us having a bit of a chat.
Yeah, for entertainment purposes only.
Precisely.
We have to make that very clear. But I was watching your YouTube clips last week, your YouTube videos, and I found the style brilliant. It was almost like you were a professional doing it. Have you developed that style at all? Did you practice before you started, or do you do warm-ups? Because it seemed very natural.
So at the start when I was doing it, like my first few videos take me about 5 years to get one. And so last time I just do it all in one shot and it goes perfectly. It's kind of building up my confidence with YouTube and stuff, so now I can just do it all in one shot. I know the information which I've been looking at for the last few days about the company. I basically just talk to the camera.
Right. And has there been any feedback from your school at all about this?
No, they don't know about it.
They don't know. Okay. Okay, so they got a surprise to come still.
Yeah, my friends know about it, but most people don't know about it in my school.
Right. Okay. And so what are your other interests? I mean, is there anything else in this area, investing, or do you have other passions and interests?
Yeah, so I still like it, but I quite like English and stuff like writing. I think that's always pretty cool. You put your ideas down on paper, for different subjects and stuff. And I really like probably history is my favourite subject. Learning about the past and how people used to live.
Right. Okay. And that's always useful for understanding markets, knowing what happened in the past.
Yeah. There was something when I was reading a book yesterday, something about the South Sea bubble in it. It goes from 150 to 1,000 and down to 100.
That's right. I think that was in the 1700s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
It's really one of the first things where that was probably the first I've really seen. Back then, the FOMO was kicking in. Even then, people had FOMO. They were all buying the stock in their masses.
Well, it just shows you could be a genius and still get fooled, because it was Sir Isaac Newton who got caught in that and lost all his money.
Invested.
Yeah, I think he got caught buying at the top.
£1,000. In those days, it's been a fortune as well.
Yeah, well, he did. I think he lost his entire fortune in the South Sea bubble.
And a lot of very rich people suddenly became poor.
That's right. And that's the importance of learning this, that, understanding the markets can go up and also go down as well, and sort of the dangers of it.
Yeah, nothing goes up in a straight line.
No. Have you had any small shocks along the way at all as you were doing this?
So I don't know if you've ever had there's companies which short different companies. I think they do sometimes release a bit of misleading information. Just to try, and they have their anonymous source, but no one really knows who that source is. It's not, nothing's proven by any evidence at all. It's just an anonymous source. Whether
Yes,
there's actually even a source there, we don't know. It's like when you have some growth companies, they, choose a growth company, they hammer it down by their short report. I mean, I'm down one position. That's Tattooed Chef. I'm down 29% on it. So I did buy near the top, but it didn't affect the whole portfolio. Because I mean, everything else is always all up, so it hasn't affected it too much. But that's something I'd probably try to average down on.
So it's a diversified portfolio in a sense.
I wouldn't say it's too diversified. There's only about 8 stocks in it, but yeah, I would say probably around 15% in cash at the moment.
Okay.
I posted this on Twitter the other day. It's like I don't care about what price the company's at. If it's a penny stock and it's a good company and I think it's gonna do well in the future, I don't care as long as it's a good company. Because a lot of penny stocks, it's like one of them I invest in AlphaMind. They produce free-wheel vehicles. And when you look at future projections and some massive partnerships they'd already created, and where the stock price is compared to that, you look at that I really saw it as a 10x future potential. And then it's really been breaking out recently. The market starts to realise the opportunity of some stocks which I owned. This means on Arcimoto, I'm up over 180% on, which is my biggest gainer ever in the course of a month. So that's been really good.
Wow. So which one was that again? Because I didn't hear that properly.
Arcimoto. It's a freewheel EV company.
Oh, okay. All right. Fantastic. Okay. Well, listen, I'm conscious of the time, and we wanted to keep this short. Mark, any thoughts at all?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing him appear on CNBC at some point, telling everyone out there in suits just what's going on. I think the quality of your information is that good, and actually getting the perspective from someone of your age is quite unique and quite unusual. And, you're looking at things with very, very different eyes. And of course, it may well wake up people that are running diversified massive portfolios to things that they've not been paying attention to. I think that's just good. That's just good for the market, and it's good for you, obviously, with your own trajectory, which is just going to keep on going because you're realizing all the dynamics of risk and diversification and the fact that things do go against you from time to time. But I think it's a lesson for youngsters, really. To join in, they can, I'm sure, contact you via Twitter, get some more ideas, and follow you on YouTube. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you on CNBC one day.
Thank you very much.
Oh yes, definitely. And we'll see you as a future market wizard, a future hedge fund king, and someone to watch out for. Best of luck as you go forward.
Yeah, thank you, and best of luck to you too.
Take care.
Cheers, Zach. All the best.
Bye.
Okay. Right, that was great.